All right, well, welcome back, AAMI fans. We are here at day 2 of AAMI eXchange. It's been an exciting couple of days, and I am now joined in the studio by Ty Greenhall with Medigate. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. You've been very busy the last couple of days, as I know you were last year, so welcome back to eXchange.
Well, thank you.
And so tell me, so you did I know you did a speech last year. You did a presentation last year, and you've been doing more this year, so I want to get into that. But before we do that, tell folks who you are.
Thank you. My name is Ty Greenhall, and I am the industry principal for Medigate by Clarity, and we're delighted to be exhibiting here, participating, and supporting.
Well, we're delighted to have you here. So now, that out of the way, tell me what you are doing this year, because you've got several activities you're involved in.
Well, goodness, I had an abstract selected, which was nice. That's always an honor, and was able to present yesterday on basically what the Department of Health and Human Services has designated as the best practices for medical device cybersecurity. And so we went into that. That was very well attended. Also, I was speaking on the stage over here with Siemens Healthineers on how, again, same type of topic, cybersecurity. And also was, again, very honored to be selected by the Technology Committee to come in and kind of brief them on the Consolidated Appropriations Act, which is the FDA initiative for getting new powers of authority over the medical device manufacturer.
Right, so the key takeaway for folks is when the experts want to know what's going on, you're the guy they call in. So that's a pretty, anybody that's listening to this that's not here is getting a treat because that's pretty special. So, and sort of on that list of activities and things you're doing with us is the Medigate-sponsored webinar series that we're doing, 6-part webinar series on cybersecurity. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, and I know it gets into sort of 6 operational domains. But before we go to that level of detail, since you're the expert, the experts call in, give us a little bit about what the environment does look like from a regulatory and policy making point of view, because things are kind of pivoting to the next phase.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Thank you. I would say first that I've never seen government move at this speed before. The White House has come out with their national cybersecurity strategy, and you kind of carve that into critical infrastructures. The healthcare is a critical infrastructure, and so you apply that. It's really requiring to figure out what the best practices are for medical device cybersecurity is one. The shifting of liability, which you were seeing in the FDA initiative that we just talked about, where the onus is being put on the manufacturer to provide better, more secure devices. So that shifting liability, that's part of that White House strategy. And they're looking to the Department of Health and Human Services and CISA to figure out what do we need to do to protect healthcare, because we're obviously, 10 years in a row, we're the #1 target, and so we're not doing a good enough job. So they're coming out with, it's currently being debated. What's going to be recommended is the prioritized, recognized security practices that may be a minimum requirement, and then whether there'll be grants or subsidies or what they're going to do for workforce. And so all of that's really in discussion right now across Congress and the White House and HHS and CISA. So there's really a lot going on.
So there's going to be a whole lot new, maybe new legislation, but even within the current legislation, a lot of new policy.
Yeah.
That sounds like it'll have both some, sounds like a carrot and a stick a little bit, because trying to solve some of the funding problems and resource problems, and then also setting higher and more specific requirements?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's where we kind of go back to the best practices that we were talking about. So let's transition a little bit to the webinar series that we're doing with you all. And I think we have can we bring up that slide that shows the 6 domains? So first of all, thanks to Medigate for sponsoring that. It's fantastic. And we've actually done 3, so folks at home know, and there's 3 more to go, so it's not too late to register.
Absolutely.
And if they come in and they register on AAMI.org for the website, they get to see the 3 that are already done, because we recorded those. But so when we talked about spinning that up, it was you all, of course, that divided this work into 6 domains. Tell me about why that is. What are the 6 domains, and why did you approach it that way?
Okay, so in the best practices, the document, it's put out by the 405D group. This is under HHS. Basically the healthcare industry cybersecurity practices, so it's kind of the best things to do for cyber for hospitals. In that is a practice called medical device security, and then kind of underneath that are the sub-practices. And these sub-practices, that's really kind of how we divided up the 6
okay, so
sessions.
it matches that.
Yeah, so you get to come in and go kind of, why, what is it about medical devices that are so hard to secure, and what are the recommendations? And we broke it up logically, with the way that the Department of Health and Human Services is breaking it up. The first one was on asset management, and so we did that with ServiceNow, and kind of how do you integrate a CMMS into cyber and operationalize the management of the devices. And then the second one was on endpoint detection, kind of because you got to do. Medical devices don't operate the same as IT devices, and so the endpoint detection needs to be a little different. So we did that with CrowdStrike.
Okay.
And so how Medigate would integrate with CrowdStrike and the data that's being shared, similar with ServiceNow, and how the two go together better. The third one we just had was with Rapid7 for vulnerability management, and kind of the what's really been great about this is the feedback we're getting is people are learning a lot about, because we keep it at a high level, and then they can go for the resource of the documentation that we provide. So those 3 have gone super, and so I would encourage everybody to go back and listen to those. And then the next 3 we have coming up are network security. So we do that with Cisco, kind of like how do you do this segmentation thing? How do you lock devices down for least privileges? And then we're going to move into one is just contract management, and that's I'm equating that one to Argentine tango, where it's how do you lead in a negotiation?
Inappropriate jokes are popping to mind right now. I'm not going to go there. Go ahead.
But there's a document out there that's been created within the same group for contract negotiations for medical devices, and there's 40.
What should be in that from a cyber perspective?
Absolutely, there's 48 phrases that have been pre-negotiated by medical device manufacturers, hospitals, and attorneys that have. It's a great place. Just throw them all in your contract.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And why? And then the last one is, even with the FDA that's come out and said, because like in the program we were both in for the keynote speaker on cybersecurity, he mentioned that it's really just for new devices and new applications. The legacy devices are still a problem. So there was a group that got together. It was Jessica Wilkerson from the FDA, and Tom Powers from Intermountain, and Samantha Jocks from McLaren, and some really brilliant people. Yeah, brilliant people got together 2 years to put this document together on how do you secure legacy medical devices. What are the rubber meets the road practices? And that's the last one. So I think it's really great, good content for everybody. Whether you know something or you don't know anything,
right.
It's a great. We're really happy to be able to contribute to this and kind of help the education of everybody in the membership.
We were delighted to have you guys support that and really drive that, honestly. And I can tell you from our side, the feedback has been very good on the first 3, and I know it'll be good on the next 3. So obviously one step that folks can take is come and register for the series, and they can do that on AAMI.org, and they'll learn about all these domains in detail. But it's interesting to me, the problem's so complex. I think just the fact that you said this is tied back to other documents and direction, just having those domains defined and being able to work through them in that way, and think even that's valuable. So
absolutely.
And so tell me what it was tied back. The 6 domains came from. Tell me the source again.
So it's if you go to the website 405d.hhs.gov. So just right to the HHS website, and you're looking for the healthcare industry cybersecurity practices. We call it HICCUP, HICP. Easy to find on that website, and it's broken down for small, medium, and large hospitals as to what the best practices are. And even if you don't take it and use it like I'm going to go apply it. Where do you start in your education process with respect to terminology, right? Well, I would suggest this is a really good place to start, because if you're going to have to commit something to memory, how about the best practices that HHS is recommending?
Exactly. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Well, listen, thank you so much. This has been great. Thanks again for participating with us in all the ways you do it at eXchange. Hopefully we'll see you next year in Phoenix. Hopefully
Absolutely.
You're already thinking what you can cook up there, and we'll get the webinar series done, and that'll be a huge success. So just thank you for all that you do. So
well, thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So a new thing we're doing now, I'm going to introduce someone. So there's a fellow from Texas, my home state, Justin, who runs a YouTube channel called Better Biomed, and this guy's fantastic. He gets into the nitty gritty of the tech and the devices, and I mean just all kinds of really fun stuff. Has about 13,000, 14,000, somewhere around there followers now, and he agreed to come out and help us this year. He's visiting booths on the expo floor so that folks can get a sense of what's here and we can hear about new products, et cetera. So Justin, I'm going to throw it over to you, and it looks like, where are you? Are you at Verathon? Where are you?
Yes, sir. We're out here, day 3 of the AAMI Exchange. We're still finding cool new tech, or stuff that I'm not really familiar with. And so we stopped off here at the Verathon booth. Joining me is Cameron, and we're going to go over the Verathon bladder scanner. This guy, I'm not familiar with this. So Cameron, can you please tell us about this device and what's going on with it? It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, of course. So this is our new model, the i10. This is our flagship model. This is going to be rolling out pretty much to all our hospitals. This is really what we want to push, and I'm going to give you guys a live demo. So we made it really user-friendly for our nurses. All they have to do is turn it on, give this a click. We're going to open up a live scan. Fan up right above the abdomen. Give this a second click. Get our scan. And there's our reading. Really easy for the user, and this is great for Biomed as well, because we do include a 5-year warranty on the device and the probe itself. So if anything happens in the field, it falls, it breaks, it gets damaged, you guys send it in to us. We provide a loaner for Biomed. We repair it and then send it back to you guys.
Wow, that's very cool. So first off, when we walked up here, this device was over by the table. And when it was over by the table, I thought it was plugged in. Guys, this is a battery-powered unit. It's on a rolly stand, and it's rolling around. It's super easy to move around, and the ergonomics seem fantastic. The numerics are really large, easy to read. Now, one of the things about bladder scanners is that they're actually an improvement on the standard of care because it decreases costs and reduces patient risk. So Cameron, can you tell us about some of the other stuff that this device can do?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, our main goal is to reduce CAUTIs in the hospital, right? So by eliminating the need for catheters on patients that aren't retaining. What we did is we made this twice as accurate as pretty much everything else in the field, and especially compared to our older scanners. That way we can really dial that in, make sure that we're giving accurate measurements to our patients, making sure that we're eliminating CAUTI, reducing the use of catheters. Other than that, we do have save scans on here. They can save all their scans. We normally don't put any patient information, so they don't have to add passcodes to the bladder scanner itself. But if that way they forget to chart, they can go back, review their scans. This is also a great training tool because when I roll these out on the floors, train the nurses, I can come back, do a follow-up. If they have any questions, we can go back, review their scans, and answer any issues they may be having.
That's amazing. So if anybody's familiar with bladder scanner, back in the day when you do a scan, it actually took a little bit, and I wasn't really ready because when you did the scan here on this little Phantom,
so quick now, so quick.
It was exceedingly quick. Can you do another scan to show us how quick it was? Because guys, I blinked literally and it was done, and that's not what I'm typically used to for a bladder scanner.
And this all comes down to reducing workflow time, right? We want to be fast, we want to get our nurses to take care of our patients as quickly as possible. So yeah, you just give this again, one click, opens up that live ultrasound, right? Go over to our patient, want to go about 2 fingers above the pubic bone, lay this down, and the quickest way to find the bladder is you slowly fan it up until we locate it. If nurses have to go left or right, they're just tilting the probe. No more quadrant check, no more spreading the gel out. We really want to keep in that pile, get that bladder nice and centered, give it a second click. There's our reading.
Very cool.
Accurate up to 7.5% now as well.
Excellent. So one of the other things I noticed is that the probe sits above a stand. And you also have a little printer on the stand, right?
Yeah, we do have a printer. We included a new bucket on the cart as well. They could hold their Sani wipes, their gel. They could print out their scans. And again, no more batteries, no more toaster chargers like our older units. They just plug into the wall when they're not using it, and it charges itself.
Awesome. Well, Cameron, thank you very much for your time, man. Guys, that is the new bladder scanner from Verathon. It's a cool piece of tech, and I actually like the tray right here because it helps prevent fall damage, which is...
We actually increased the weight of the base as well. It's now 35 pounds base, harder to tip over. And then the 360 rail, easier for the nurses to pull and pull around the floors.
So cool. Guys, you never know what you're going to run into here at AAMI eXchange. What a cool tech. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Looks great. Now, I found out there are models for these machines that they try them on. Find out if they'll let me come over and be a model, okay? I'll check with you after the show. They can scan me. Don't do it. I'm kidding. All right. Well, listen, I'm in the studio now with a longtime AAMI volunteer and leader and current AAMI board member, Herman McKenzie. Herman, how are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Good to see you. And Herman, you have a job besides just helping AAMI out. Tell folks who you are.
Well, my day job, I am the Director of the Physical Environment at the Joint Commission.
All right, I think people have heard of that, right?
Yep.
Responsible for, make sure I get the language right, accrediting against CMS standards?
That is correct.
All
We
right,
are
very,
the
very
largest accreditor. We are an agent of CMS.
And I think it comes up every time you're on stage here, and you're going to be in the keynote, do a keynote again tomorrow. Do you guys write the rules, Herman?
Well, no, not necessarily.
You interpret them.
We interpret them, right.
That's right, yeah.
CMS has the conditions of participation, and our standards and elements of performance have to crosswalk to any condition of participation.
Right. It always amazes me. Every year it comes up and you say, listen, this is how this works. This is how the process works. So speaking of that, I know you guys have had some changes at the Joint Commission, new leadership or recently new leadership. Tell folks a little bit about what's going on at the Joint Commission.
So Dr. John Perlin started last year, and he's really has put his stamp on the organization. And one of the things, our customers would really want to know, last fall, he came out and he was very explicit in saying, we want to reduce the accreditation burden. So one of the ways that we can do that is we are looking at all of our standards and elements of performance. And if it's not crosswalked to a condition of participation, if possible, we want to eliminate them.
Okay.
So we're looking at everything. And I know also a down the road goal of Dr. Perlin is to have the accreditation experience of the future. Now, we don't know what that looks like, but the intent is that it'll be more streamlined, it'll be even more collegial, and it'll be more learning opportunities for our customers.
Fantastic. Well, I know that's we talk all the time, that's your passion. It's helping educate folks around the application of standards, requirements, whatever the right language might be. So it sounds like you're right up your alley.
Yes, it is. My three things: learn so I can teach, and shepherd people through the accreditation process.
Right.
And I hope it comes across whenever I do any of these presentations.
Right. Well, I know it always does on the main stage, which you've been gracious enough to do that for many years, and we'll be doing that again tomorrow, being our final keynote speaker here at AAMI eXchange, and you are always very kind. You do a presentation, then you take Q&A, which is never easy. And sometimes that question I brought up, well, do you make the rules? No, we don't make the rules. So no one asks that tomorrow. If anyone's listening that's going to be there, don't ask that tomorrow. What do you expect? What are some of the hot topics out there in the field right now that people are asking about?
Sure. Well, there's always the what's new, what could be new. There are specifics of compliance in terms of, if I was surveyed, how would it be interpreted by the Joint Commission? Some of the general rules, for instance, if something is found on survey and one of our customers wanted to contest it, well, what's the process for that? Well, first of all, I want you to know there is a process for that.
Right.
And so also, I hate to say it, but RPTs, or for those who haven't heard of that, the power strips. Those are always a very popular topic to ask about compliance.
So this is where if Danielle was here, and we're missing her, but she's doing something really important. Just had a wonderful new baby, but she would bring up that picture that she likes to trot out of like 80 power strips all taped and glued together and stuck onto a pole. That's not allowed, I understand.
No, it's not. We just thought that visual would be a great teaser.
It is funny
for the AAMI eXchange.
Yeah.
So I got some good feedback, some good tips on. Oh my goodness, Herman, I can't believe that.
Yeah. People are shocked. And was it staged, or is that a real picture from somewhere?
It was a real picture.
That was actually
a real picture that someone sent in, an AAMI member sent in.
That's almost unbelievable that someone would do that. Well, I'm glad you guys are out there on the case and keeping these things from happening, and thanks again for all you do with AAMI. and all you do for the community, and very much looking forward to the keynote tomorrow. Is there anything we hadn't covered you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Make sure, if you have any questions that you got them in. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow, and I'm just very excited about this opportunity.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. So now we're going to cut, we're doing a neat feature this year with a fellow named Justin who runs Better Biomed, and it looks like, Justin, you're out there with Bay Corporation. What have you got?
Absolutely. So as I was walking by Baycorp, Baycorp is already like the standard when it comes to
specs that you need, the links, the quick connects, disk fittings, whatever it might be, and it generates a photo and a part number for you for ordering.
That's amazing. Guys, MedGas is already complex enough. You can go to their website and custom build your own hoses according to your needs and see their other offerings. Now, Baycorp is the de facto standard when it comes to having a selection. They have a catalog, they have a huge catalog online, and I've used them personally for years. So, Justin, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you.
Guys, visit Baycorp and check out what they got and build your own custom hoses. How cool.
Very, very cool. All right, and colorful and everything else. So I love it. I absolutely love it. Thanks so much, man. And you're off to, where are you off to next, Justin?
Not really sure. We're gonna explore a couple options.
Find your way to Lexicon.
Gotcha.
There you go. All right, we'll be back to you in just a few minutes. So I am back in the studio now with Mike Busticker, Intermountain Health. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you here. And gosh, how do I enjoy? Longtime AAMI volunteer. Longtime AAMI leader, longtime AAMI worker, a little bit of everything. So tell people sort of who you are in the day and the night, your day job, and a little bit about your involvement with AAMI.
Certainly. So Mike Busticker, and again, I'm with Intermountain Health. I've been with them 12 years now.
Okay.
Been in the industry for 40 years. Actually,
wow.
Graduated from the what is now the Department of Defense Biomed School, but at the time was the Air Force Biomed School. So the Air Force, Army, Navy, they had separate biomed
now
schools.
It's all one thing down at Fort
Now
Sam
it's all
Houston.
one
Yeah.
at Fort Sam Houston.
So
yeah, I graduated from that one in 1982.
Wow.
And
fantastic.
spent time, retired Air Force, so 26 years with the Air Force. And
thank you for that. Wow.
Thank you. And
had some adventures.
Yes, yes.
Now, were you in biomed, I guess, the whole time, right? While you're in all.
So in biomed for the most part.
Okay.
The last few years, I finished up as a first sergeant, and then 4 years as a senior enlisted advisor.
Okay, great. So came out and went immediately back to biomed?
I actually left the active duty for a period of time, and then went to work for Service Master, Aramark, Trimedics, and now they're all one.
Okay.
And now with Intermountain Healthcare.
Fantastic. And how long have you been involved with AAMI?
I have been involved with AAMI. It's been at least 30 years, if not more. So I've been in the industry for 40, and I know I've been involved with AAMI for at least 30.
It took you a decade to find AAMI. That's not
right.
too bad. Some people it's longer. So.
And it was while I was in the Air Force and traveling around. So when I was over in Greece and Italy and Germany and
So what got you involved at that point in your career? How did you come to find AAMI, and what was the draw?
So the draw was when I was working for Service Master and the number of individuals that were involved with AAMI. So I saw a great opportunity to give back to the field, as well as increase my knowledge and just provide some opportunity, and as well as gain some mentors that were within the organization, such as Ray Laxton, Dave Francoeur, those individuals as well.
And now, all this time later, you're the mentor.
Right.
So, it's your time to give back to those younger people, and you've been doing that like crazy and sharing your expertise with people in so many ways. One of the ways, and one of the things we want to talk about today is this gray area document that you were involved with the production of this document. What is it, and why'd you create it?
Sure. So the gray area document, one of the things that we've always struggled with in the HTM field and industry is who's responsible for what in a healthcare delivery organization. So who services the beds, who services sterilizers, who services security cameras. So it's really been a gray area, because you'll find throughout the industry that sometimes it's security, sometimes it's facilities, sometimes it's HTM. So the Technology Management Council decided to take on a project and look at that gray areas. So we identified all of the equipment that we considered gray area equipment, and then we sent out a survey to the industry, so across the entire country, and said, in your organization, who is currently handling these devices? Now I said, this is going to be a project that's not going to be a one and done, because as technology advances, so will those responsibilities. If we'd have done this survey 30 years ago, the numbers would be completely different than what they are right now. So
there were only like 4 devices 30 years ago, right?
Right. Right.
True.
So we
only
looked
got
at,
worse.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we looked at
More
those
complex.
percentages and provided a guidance document to the industry. So it's not one that says, hey, HTM's doing beds in 60% of the facilities, so everybody should do them. It's just a guidance document for individuals to take a look
at.
at.
Benchmarking almost, isn't it?
Right.
This is more the norm or less the norm or whatever the case might be.
Right.
So what were the areas that were there areas where you were surprised either way by how much alignment there was around one of these items that you thought would be gray area, or the other way, you thought it was fairly well settled and it was just evenly divided, everybody was doing it differently?
I think it was more of a kind of the expectations, the things that we were looking at, and the numbers where we expected them to be for the most part.
Okay.
A number of things like hospital beds. 30 years ago, it would have been facilities managements doing those 100% because they were considered furniture at the time. And now, because of technology advancement and everything that goes into a hospital bed, it's a clinical device now.
Right.
And with the connection to nurse call and everything else, so it's starting to shift the direction of HTM. And when I say starting to shift, I think the numbers when it finally came out was 60% of the HTM departments are now doing hospital beds.
Managing the beds,
yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Are there other devices like that are sort of migrating into the HTM domain over time as they become smarter, for lack of a better term?
Yes, I think so. And patient monitors has always been that way, but when you look at storage systems like cardiology storage systems, PACS devices, when you start looking at things like that, it's becoming more and more of a collaborative effort between two departments. So now it's clinical engineering or HTM, we're going to take it to a certain point, but then we may need network expertise and software expertise, so we bring IT into the fold on that. So, and that's where you're getting HTM is now required, and not required, but it's beneficial for them to have an IT, at least enough information to make themselves dangerous.
Because of the intersections, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So one area we've been talking a lot about, and it's changing rapidly, and certainly IT and connectivity has to do with that, healthcare at home. Or at least, we're scattering to ambulatory centers and then from there to the home and I guess eventually on the sidewalk or something. It just keeps going. Getting pushed downstream. Was that part of the survey? Anything in that around in the survey? Is that a future activity?
I think that's a future activity. So the TMC right now has got a project going on to look at home health and not from a telehealth perspective, true and actual home health.
Right.
So,
we are telemedicine.
Looking, yes.
Right.
And we're looking at it, Intermountain Health, we're doing, they're doing knee replacements and hip replacements as an outpatient surgery.
Wow.
So the patient goes in the morning, they have a hip replacement, they're home that night.
Unbelievable.
And then physical therapy is actually coming to their home. They're doing their physical therapy in the home. We've installed dialysis machines in patients' homes.
Really?
So they don't have to go in to a dialysis center. They can do their dialysis treatments right at home. And our HTM professionals are finding that things are shifting from a natural, from a standard hospital environment and hospital setting into a patient's home. And the requirements, the capabilities that they need from a soft skills perspective, understanding clinical, and as well as the security perspective, cybersecurity and equipment security as well.
Right, it really doesn't matter why they're there. Once they're in a patient home, whether it's to repair the medical equipment or not, they're still a representative of the hospital or the healthcare facility and have to deal with a lot, I would think, of that.
Yes.
Will have to deal with a lot in that setting. So, well, this is fantastic. Anything, so we talked a little bit about that being something you're working on in future state. Anything else you want to call out or seek volunteers? And it's okay if not, but just an opportunity.
I guess the only thing is really the emphasis that AAMI has put on over the past few years or couple of years of ensuring from a membership standpoint that our frontline HTM technicians find value in being members of AAMI.
Right.
And the technical training classes that took place here at this exchange, as well as what we're looking at for the future, and then the documents and information and everything that's available to them on the website, just phenomenal. I think AAMI's done a tremendous job of really, instead of just looking at an institution or institutional membership or industry membership, really that individual membership and the benefits of belonging.
Well, it's like having Justin here with us. He focuses so much time on that. Supports techs, and we did the technical training, as you mentioned. We're going to do that again next year in Phoenix. And so I would turn that into an ask of, those folks out there that might see this that are new to the profession or frontline. Don't think AAMI's for managers only. Get involved, call us, get on the website, find the resources, and then come to eXchange. What a better way to get involved. I mean, you could start here. This is a good place to get the roadmap. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for all you do and have done and continue to do. And I look forward to seeing the coming weeks and months and then in Phoenix next year.
Great. Thanks, Robert.
Thanks so much. All right, so we're going to cut to Justin right now, and it looks like he's dealing with.
You can handle
three-phase, and this is a three-phase. We've done everything from digital X-ray all the way through. There's not a modality we've not touched in putting this out there on it.
Wow, amazing. So many medical facilities have aging infrastructure, and because of that, you need an insurance policy. And here you go. It's a compact insurance policy. You can install it locally next to your equipment, and it's going to filter out all your problems.
Absolutely, absolutely. People wonder why their CTs or MRs or memos go down 8-10 times a year. What's happening is your parts are failing prematurely. The reason why they're failing premature in a lot of cases, dirty power.
That's amazing. Guys, Lexicon, check it out. Any configuration that you can think of, they can help you specify and configure your device. So reach out to them, lexiconmedparts.com. Scott, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That was fantastic. Thank you, Justin. As an owner of a fried refrigerator from frequent power outages in the country, that dirty power stuff will cost you a lot of money. It's terrible. Just terrible. So thank you, and thanks to Lexicon for being here. It's fantastic. So I am in the studio now. It's an honor for me to be in the studio with Chris Stringer. Christopher, you go by Chris.
Yes, sir.
Our BMET of the Year. We were just on the stage together, and you just received that award in front of the entire AAMI community, and so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's a very, very big honor. I guess someone at VA knew of you and knew of the incredible work you're doing and nominated you, and here you are. So tell folks what you do and where you do it.
So currently I manage a biomed shop, and I do that for the VA in Walla Walla, Washington. It's the southeast corner of Washington State.
Beautiful area.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is, definitely.
Yeah.
Been doing that for about almost 2.5 years now with the VA, but been doing biomed in general for 23 years. So.
23 years, okay. So, that's not too long a run to get to the BMET of the year. That's a pretty quick ramp up, actually, to that award. So how did you get involved in the profession? Tell us a little bit about how you came to be a BMET.
Well, interesting story is I grew up in North Pole, Alaska, outside of Fairbanks. And
okay, so wait a minute, I have to stop. So it was a town named
North Pole. It was a town named North Pole.
So I was backstage when your video was running and you were being introduced, and I thought it said you were from the North Pole.
Yeah,
I was like, come on.
I didn't know what to say at the point, but yes.
You're from North Pole, not
Alaska,
the North Pole.
Yeah,
okay,
not the
I'm
North
sorry.
Pole.
That's not important at all, but now I understand. So, okay, so you born and grew up there.
Yes, sir, yes. Yep. So when I graduated high school, I already knew I was going to enlist in the military. Okay. I come from a family of people that have served. Both my parents had served, my grandparents had served.
Wow,
so
thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And I also didn't want to go to college right away. So I thought, I want to get out of Alaska a little bit, see the world. And I went and took my ASVAB and got my scores and went and talked to the recruiter. And one of the jobs they offered me was biomedical equipment technology.
Which means your ASVAB scores were at the top.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a prime place to end up, and I know we visit METC, which is now the Medical Education Training Command down at Fort Sam Houston, and they get the pick of the crop of folks coming in that are enlisting. So
definitely.
Still the case that's kind of the top of this. So all right, so you got your start there.
Yep.
And went in, and which branch was it again?
I was in the Air Force.
In the Air Force. Okay, so you did your training, and then what?
Yes, sir. And so we were at that point we were a tri-service school, so we were all trained in Wichita Falls or Shepherd up in Wichita Falls, Texas. And,
Okay. Yep.
graduated school, and right before I graduated, 9/11 happened. And so that kind of changed the trajectory of what I expected I was going to do for the next few years. I kind of focused more on field hospitals, deployable equipment, and ended up doing that pretty much for the rest of my time in the Air Force.
Oh, wow. And how long was that? How long were you in the Air Force?
Just shy of 11 years.
Okay. And then you came out and went to what?
Moved to Houston and got a job working with Memorial Hermann.
Okay. Yeah.
I started at one of their
facility.
community hospitals.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Fantastic hospital. Yeah.
And then I started at one of their community hospitals and then moved pretty quickly up to the medical center.
Okay.
And even to this day, it's still the biggest facility I've ever seen. It's 4 different.
We don't do things
complexes.
small in Texas.
No, they don't.
That's a Houston thing. The Houston Medical Center.
Exactly.
Maybe the biggest in the world, if not among the biggest.
I think so. Yeah.
Sure. I think it might have the most beds in the world. So, all right. So you and so that was you're in Houston. Are you still there?
No. So I think around the pandemic, I kind of decided it was time for a change. So
Okay.
applied and got hired on at the VA, and the family was ready to move too. So we all moved to Walla Walla, Washington, or
Back home.
Tri-Cities. Yeah, and that's
Or
where
closer,
we're at today.
more toward in that direction.
Yes, sir. Yeah. For me, it was a perfect. Compromise because my wife is born and bred Texan. I'm Alaskan, born and bred. So.
Okay, so somewhere in the middle then.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. Talk about two extremes: North Pole, Alaska, and Houston, Texas. That's a big change. So what have you enjoyed most about your career as a BMET? What's kept you in it? What's kept you going?
I mean, honestly, it's the people you work with. The one thing, and of course, I haven't been in several other career fields, but I've gotten to work with several other career fields, and there's just no career field quite like biomed.
No.
Every place you go, you know that everybody that you're there with, you've all been trained the same. You can rely on each other just from day one, right out of the gate. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie and the friendships that you develop never die. I mean, I'm running into people here. This is my first conference I'm able to attend in person.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm running into people that I've worked with 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And, of course, a bunch of people I've worked with more recently. But,
yeah,
it
is a small community.
It is.
I mean, it's not really small, but it feels small.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Definitely those long-term relationships that get built and go on. So what would your advice be for a young BMET that might be thinking, I mean, obviously enlist and go to really knock your scores out of the park and get down to Met C and get in that way. But what other advice would you give to a young BMET or someone considering becoming a BMET?
Well, I give the same advice I've been trying to use on my kids that I've been trying to recruit into the biomed field. Is that
and that's incredibly, and it's a testament to the field. The number of father-son, father-daughter, mother-daughter, mother-son. The number of multi-generational families that do this. It tells you what a great field it is.
Yes, sir.
Parents are telling their kids to go into the field. So anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I tell them the same thing that I always tell them, that it's a very unique job. It's a job that you can learn something new every day. And that's the one thing that still holds true even after 23 years is I still learn something new every day, and I always love that feeling when I learn something new.
Yeah.
And so that would be probably my biggest selling point about this career field is that you never stop learning.
Right.
This career field continues to evolve. You'll continue to evolve with it. It keeps you from getting stale, or it keeps people from getting bored. There's always something new to work on.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, and then great advice. So first year at eXchange, be the BMET of the year. How can you beat that?
I know.
That's pretty
true.
good. I don't think most people are going to fulfill that particular outcome. So, but listen, thanks again, Chris. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to learn a little bit about your story, and I know you're going to be an inspiration to lots of young people that are wanting to go into this field. So, thank you,
and
thank you for your service and your family as well. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to cut out to the field. Let me see where we are. We've got Justin out in the field, and it looks like he's going to be over GE Healthcare. Are you there, Justin?
Yes, sir.
All right, take it away. Oh, my gosh.
Guys, this is one of those things I really wasn't expecting because I thought it was going to be more of a pipe dream. And we're talking about augmented reality, and GE is leading the charge on it. And joining me is Chris and Garrett. They are going to give us the lowdown on their augmented reality service support. Garrett and Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we're excited to be able to talk about advanced visual support and think about it like FaceTime for HTM. That's HIPAA compliant. So, nowadays with so many clinical engineering changes, new, inexperienced folks coming into the field, the ability to have someone over your shoulder to see what you see and help you diagnose with speed and accuracy the first time, it's a game changer. So we're really excited about it.
Wow, that's so cool. Now, we've all done like FaceTime with a phone, right? You hold it up and it's cumbersome and it's not really that interactive. It's kind of a poor implementation. These guys have kind of thought out the whole entire process. So Garrett, what's going on with this system, man? This is so cool. I was not expecting to walk up on this.
Yeah, so we have begun to think through how we enable our really vast remote technical service engineering space to collaborate, interact differently at the care site. So engineers and tech-wise, because I know that's your thing, we're gonna show you some stuff today. So initially, we're gonna allow the biomed field engineering customers to engage with us through advanced visual support using tablet, phone, or laptop, anything that has a webcam. What's coming next after that and where we really see the hype curve going is going to be the industrial grade goggles, which we'll show you here in a second. So you want to take a quick demo?
Heck yeah, let's do it, guys. Please meet Brittany and Lauren. Hi. Lauren, how's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You are modeling this very high-tech piece of gear right here. And the cool thing about this is you have your hands free, which is amazing. So can you show us how this thing works?
Absolutely. Do you want? So we're going to show the mobile version first, and then we'll also talk about the wearables as well. So with the mobile version, the way it works is we will send your end user a text message or email. They'll get a link, open the link, and then be connected to our GE expert. So as we're demonstrating here, the left screen is going to be the GE expert perspective. The right screen is going to be the end user perspective. So as Lauren will demonstrate, we have live video. So she's going to point it at the water bottle here. You'll also see that I have interactive cursor, so I can help direct the end user to the correct spot for us to do troubleshooting. So I can actually annotate and tell Lauren that we need to remove this cap before we can do anything else. Also, the end user has interactive capabilities as well, so if that's not the area of interest and the problem is somewhere else, she can also focus me down to that area as well. We also have screen and document sharing capabilities, so we can share service manuals, any quick reference guides with the end user to assist in troubleshooting. We also have a chat function, so if you are in an area of the hospital like an OR or a patient room and you're not able to use the audio, we can still communicate with you. You can ask questions, we can provide instructions. We also have multi-party capabilities, so if you do have additional personnel in the biomed department who either have not worked on the system before or they haven't seen this issue, they can be added into the existing session with your GE expert. They can all collaborate and troubleshoot together, or if the solution has already been discovered, they can see that fix real time. So
that's very cool. Now on this little display down here, I can see the interactive arrow that they're talking about, telling you what you should do next. Now on the headset, are they going to see something up here, like in the reticle?
Yes, so on the headset that Lauren is demonstrating, up on the side is the camera that is going to allow the GE user to see what the customer is seeing. On the screen in front of Lauren, any interaction that the GE expert has with her, whether that's annotations or instructions, is going to be visible on that screen in front of her.
That is amazing. So you're talking minimal downtime, because somebody could literally just throw the headset on and immediately go to the site. And starting from ground zero, you don't even know what's going on with the device. You get step-by-step instructions from an OEM professional.
Absolutely. The problem that a lot of folks in the field have is when you do call for tech support, it's really hard to describe on the phone to someone remotely what you're seeing, what happened, and what needs to be done next. So by either having the wearable or even your mobile device, we have eyes in the field right there beside you. So we can see exactly what you're seeing and walk you through step-by-step how to resolve that quickly. So less downtime, more clinical productivity, and fixes on the first time instead of multiple service calls.
Very cool. Now, guys, this is just getting going. I mean, but what modalities do you guys hope to cover in this in the very end? Well, like when it's full blown, ready to go.
So it is ready to go. Yeah, it's ready to go. It's live, and it's live on most of our portfolio, to be honest. So right now, if a customer has an in-house enabled, or even a full service at times, but an in-house enabled support agreement with GE that involves a remotely connected device that connects them or gives them access to a technical support engineer, they can initiate an advanced visual support call right now. And GE wants to build that into as just an inclusion, just a part of our service agreements moving forward. So any service agreement really moving forward will include this advanced visual support capability right now. So if a customer is thinking, oh my gosh, this is the future, it's really the right now. So we're excited in seeing a ton of validation within our own program, and we're starting to really see it with in-house programs right now.
That is so cool. So if you're a GE partner and you're already doing a lot of business with GE, I've never seen this implemented before. That is so cool. And this tech right here, being portable, you got your hands free, you got step-by-step instructions from a professional, minimal downtime, reduced costs, and you're gonna increase your patient satisfaction in the end, right?
Yeah, the tablets, the device, the desktop are available right now. We're working on the goggles, and those will be coming out at some point in the future as well. But yeah, this is live. It's ready to go for customers.
Guys, this is easily one of the coolest pieces of tech that I've seen at this entire show, and GE already has it implemented. So if you're interested and you are currently working with GE, reach out to them and see how you can partake in the augmented reality. What? This is so cool. All right, Chris, thank you very much. Brittany, I appreciate it. Augmented reality, and look at this beautiful headset. That is so cool. All right, thanks, guys.
Cool, Justin. Thank you so much. And hey, thank GE Healthcare for us again for sponsoring this activity. I mean, we're able to do this because of their support. So tell them all a big thank you from me.
I sure will.
And thanks to you, Justin. All right. So we're back in the studio now, and I've got two friends with me, dear friends, Megan and Kurt. And Kurt has agreed. It's getting towards the end of the second day. Someone noticed I'm starting to lag. No, I'm kidding. But Kurt has agreed.
Robert, we'll pick you up.
Pick me up. Kurt has agreed to be my co-host for this segment, and Kurt is a member of our board of directors at AAMI. And well, you introduce you. I don't want to go through it all. You do it. I'll take
Sure,
it.
and thanks for having me and letting me co-host with you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Tell folks who you are.
Yeah, Kurt Fink. I'm on the AAMI board of directors, and I'm on the executive committee, but also the vice chair for HTM on the board.
Yep. And we really appreciate it. And involved with AAMI how long?
Involved with AAMI and coming to AAMI conferences for 30 plus years. Been on the board of directors for a good dozen years.
Yeah. So long time involvement. And we're joined by Megan Friel. So Megan, welcome. Tell folks who you are.
Yep, Megan Friel. I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm the director now of the HTM program. About 2 months in officially, but been doing this role for about 2 years now.
All right, so you're detailed there, sort of acting in front of your title or something for 22, 24 months, and now official, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So how long have you been coming to AAMI, or either AAMI eXchange or involved with AAMI?
Yeah, and most of my career I've been doing this, so I'm coming up on 19 years here with the VA, and I've been coming to AAMI most of those years. So.
Fantastic. All right, now Kurt, you jump in with me here as we go, so don't let me just run things over here. If you got questions, jump in. But I want to start with one. Just tell us how you got into the field, a little bit about your background that brought you to this point, a very senior leadership position.
Absolutely. So it really started back in undergraduate, I would say. I went to Texas A&M University and
Gig 'em.
Yeah.
Houston boy here. I know the Aggies well, so congratulations.
Thank you. Senior design project focused on clinical engineering and redesign of an OR, and that really got me excited about the field and learning about all the wonderful things that you could do with engineering and management in the hospital. So I went from there to the UConn program, graduated from...
Oh, you're part of that club.
I am.
Like a secret club. Well, it's not even secret, is it? There's nothing secret at all about it. But, okay, so UConn.
So I went from that club to the VA club and joined the VA back in 2004 time frame.
Okay.
And haven't looked back. Started up in Boston and then worked my way down quickly to DC, to central office, and have been with our central office since then.
Okay. So say a little bit about how VA is structured. So you shared with us what your position is, but what does that mean?
Yep, so we have one VA central office which provides the policy and the oversight and the spreading of best practices across our HTM departments. Folks don't actually report up to me from the field, but we then have 18 VISNs, so regional groups of hospitals, and I interact with those folks. We have chief VISN biomedical engineers in each of our VISNs, and I interact with those folks on a very regular basis. And then from there, we have about 170 medical centers, healthcare systems, and those VISNs have groupings of those medical centers within them. So we all, there's a chain of command kind of structure, but really within the HTM community, we're very blessed to work hand in hand regularly with each other throughout that community.
And Megan, you mentioned best practices. The VA HTM presence here is very palpable, and the energy and the excitement from them is amazing at the Exchange. But I understand your office hosted a VA meeting prior to the Exchange. Can you talk a little bit about that meeting, how many people came, and what some of the topics and themes and such you covered?
Yeah, we had about 250 people from biomedical engineering across the country within VA at that meeting. Almost every medical center was represented by an HTM staff member at that meeting. All 18 VISNs were represented. So really great time to come together and connect. It was the first time in 4 years we had hosted that meeting. So it was great just to network, really see each other face to face, and we talked the gamut of topics during that meeting. It was 2.5 days before the AAMI meeting. We touched on technical things like networking and patient safety. We talked about communications and the importance of soft skills. We talked about recruitment and retention of our staff and the importance and the struggles that we have with it within our community and outside our community as well. So really a large variety of topics.
Super. And I imagine many of those 250 participants came to the Exchange then.
Yes, that was part of the objective, really making sure that we, do our internal connections and networking, but making sure that we outreach to all of the community within the industry here at AAMI.
Fantastic. Well, and we love the connectivity, and we had a little break there in the middle, unfortunately, a little pandemic. Yeah. And then you guys, there's a little bit going on you were trying to recover from before you could get back to having the meeting. And so it's fantastic that you guys are here. What are some of the top initiatives the VA is looking at? Where are you making those improvements that are going to make a difference for patients?
Yeah, I mean, some of the top initiatives that we are working on are what I actually already mentioned. So recruitment and retention of our workforce is really a top challenge and initiative within our office. We're really looking at our staff. How can we continue to improve upon their skill sets and retain those skill sets within the VA? We're also cybersecurity, like our keynote speaker.
We've been talking a bit about that.
Talked about
a little bit.
Cybersecurity is a huge area of emphasis, and really where we're trying to grow our programs and become more mature and figure out how to be smarter about cybersecurity and how we address it within the VA. And
can I butt in there? I mean, the keynote guy also talked about this unicorn concept of a skill set of IT and biomedical knowledge. And you've done a lot of work in that department, in that area, right?
We sure have. Yeah, we even have a profession within biomedical engineering. It's called our biomedical information systems specialists, and so we've been, bringing people into the community that have those skill sets and actually hiring them into those positions, and then training, providing that continuing education training within the VA and outside the VA, encouraging certifications, that kind of thing within that profession.
Right. How many folks are actually in these roles within VA? How big of a community? We just talked about 250 are here.
Yeah.
I assume that's not all of them. So how many folks are we talking about?
Yeah, so we've got about 1,400 buses and
technicians. That's what the VA calls their support specialists.
Yeah.
So it's biomedical technicians. They call equipment support specialists.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, Kurt. Yes. And then about 400 biomedical engineers. So degree read engineers.
So you guys have to be one of the largest employers, right?
I think so.
Certainly from the HDO perspective, they are the largest.
Okay,
yes.
got it.
And growing. There's, just like every other organization, there continues to be opportunity growing within HTM, just with our scope and the cyber and networking that we just talked about.
I know every time I pass by the Career Center here at the Exchange, there's an awful lot of activity in there, and I notice VA has a presence there as well.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yep.
So what, and Kurt, I know this is near and dear to your heart. How do folks find the VA? If we have young people that are watching, what's the path to get on, where do they begin?
Yeah. USAjobs.gov is really the path, or connecting with your VA folks locally. There's probably a VA that's close to most folks that are interested, so connecting with those VA partners and finding out about opportunities, or how to maybe regional opportunities, local opportunities, national opportunities, but USAjobs.gov is the easiest place.
And then for clinical engineers coming out of university, springtime, you're usually recruiting for a class of 15 or 20 of them, right?
We are.
Oh, so you pick them off every year?
We do.
Yeah, that's part of that UConn thing too, but not just UConn. Any graduate coming out of any great program. So
yeah.
So that's at the clinical engineering level, coming out of school.
Yeah, and they have a developmental program. It's a 2-year developmental program.
Okay.
And they take recent graduate engineers, they put them to work, but they're also helping them transition from the academic environment to the...
Does that have to be a biomedical engineer? Do you sometimes take related fields, or what does that look like?
So it is specific to the occupational field. So right now it's we're focused on biomedical engineers.
Mm-hmm.
We've done BMETs before in the past. We don't have a program currently, but we're looking to that for the future.
Okay, got it. So do you bring folks? You must bring a lot of folks in at the BMET level, though, right?
We do.
And what qualifications do folks need? And I know it can vary, so I don't mean to oversimplify this, but once again, I'm thinking of that young person watching, says, this might be for me. What do they need to know? Do they obviously finish your high school, get that done? Is there some 2-year college, 4-year college? What are the requirements?
Yeah, so there's some specific educational requirements. I'd have to look them up to be
put you on the spot.
To be honest with you, but no, you're fine. It's at least an associate's degree in a related field is one of the requirements, but they are detailed out, and anyone interested could come and find one of us and make sure that we cover them correctly. But they're also on those USA Jobs announcements as well.
So folks can look there, and of course, they can come to AAMI Exchange. Because you guys, as Kurt pointed out, you guys are in the Career Center, I think every year. I mean, every year you've been able to participate that I've been here. So.
And Robert, I'd add too, because I've seen their recruitment ads. They've got a lot of opportunity for those entry-level positions you're talking about, but they also have large, complex hospitals where they're looking for a director of clinical engineering, HTM, and so very seasoned clinical engineering managers may want to talk to VA or look at VA as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's an exciting place to work. A lot of the things you guys are doing at VA are the cutting edge. So that would be a great mid-career or even later career move. So yeah. So Kurt, what hadn't we thought of to ask Megan while we have her in the hot seat? I drilled her about job requirements. I went down like 98 levels below what I said I would go down to. What are the working hours on Thursday in November? What else should we ask about?
I think they also leverage their size, and Megan will correct me or augment. Fairly specific technology roles too. So she's talked about cybersecurity and information specialists, but also if somebody's got a passion for diagnostic imaging or telehealth is huge in the VA.
Yep.
So they've got people that are doing very focused work. HTM, clinical engineering, biomedical work in those various technologies across the enterprise. So it's the breadth of the responsibility is vast.
Yeah, and I'd just add to that it's at the local level, so at a single facility level, at a regional level, and at a national level that we're doing those specific focused areas in some cases. So it is the opportunities are pretty great.
That is the benefit of scale, isn't it? That you can provide those career paths that smaller organizations can't. So, wow.
And I think you've got a number, just going to come back to AAMI a little bit. I know a lot of the AAMI committees, TMC, HTLC, have representatives from Megan's organization on those committees.
Yeah.
So they bring, what VA is doing to the committees, and they take the good work that the committees are doing and bring them back to the VA.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to be doing even more than that. So don't tell them I'm mean and I go like way down below what I would go. So, well, listen, anything I didn't think, Kurt or I didn't think to ask you, you want to share about the VA and what you're doing there?
I think just that, if you're looking for a community, that is something that we bring from the VA, a great community of HTM, and I'm certainly very passionate about and as well as the mission of the VA. It's a very special mission, and I know
Absolutely.
It's what keeps us all, very grounded in the importance of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's always about the patient, but you guys have a very special community of patients that you serve. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
In that role, in your role here at AAMI and all that the VA does here at eXchange and the rest of as Kurt pointed out, the committees, it's really fantastic. We look forward to continuing to work with you for many, many years. Many years. And Kurt, thank you.
You bet.
You've been doing it nonstop for years, and you've been a big part of this AAMI Exchange, and we really appreciate you.
Happy to be a part of it.
And
thanks, Megan, for coming here today.
Now you're a host.
There we go.
You're in. You're in. This is you next year. You're not going to have any time for anything.
Just don't ask me to host.
Oh,
Okay.
what about that?
I know.
That was inspiring, though. That was a pretty good for folks
what
that were there.
energy.
That was we had the Ninja Warrior keynote yesterday, and
he did a great job.
He was he made a joke about himself being in a blueberry suit, and then I thought I knew what suit I was wearing today, and then I was like, "You think you're a blueberry?" Like I was going to try and do a callback to it today and make a joke, but I knew there was no way I could live up to that guy's energy and everything else.
But you know what, Robert? That occurred to me while he was talking. Absolutely, he was full of energy, and it was palpable. But when you think about HTM professionals, many of them exhibit that same type of passion
100%.
and energy,
100%.
in their workplaces. It's just outstanding. It's a unique aspect of the biomedical engineering.
That has come out so much in this show this year. It was interesting because, his energy and the fact that he took the time to get to know us. And of course, his whole story had a very heavy healthcare component to it with what was going on with his mom, et cetera. But the way that was woven together, and then even just a little example I used this morning of we're doing defib training and had some supply chain issues, and we're going to be training people on cardboard boxes or something, and nope, Sherry went around the floor, and folks pulled their equipment off the expo floor, which they need to support their business objectives here, and send it over for training. And this is just an amazing community.
That's what happens in hospitals every single day. That kind of problem presents, and we've got to solve the issue.
Yeah.
Right?
I frequently leave these kinds of things kind of tired, even though I love it. I love everything I get to do with AAMI and love the profession. For whatever reason, this year I'm going to leave with more energy than I came with. It's just been a really special year. So yeah.
Super.
Very cool.
Super.
And you guys are my last interview, so I don't know how I could finish.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
So thank you very
Good
much.
job today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Be well. All
Thanks
right.
again, Megan.
That's it.
I
We're
appreciate
done.
it.
Be
Thank
well,
you.
Megan. Thank you.